If you're having trouble putting down doing energy and you're going through an awakening, there can be some underlying reasons that are driving this doing energy within the system, within the operating system. And if you address these underlying issues, then you can have good results in putting down doing energy permanently. The first one is a fear of failure and a drive for success. And this can happen from childhood. You might have had parents that really insisted on you being successful, saying things like, in this family, we all become doctors, or you have to be the top of your class, you have to succeed. And a lot of pressure was put on you. And that, of course, is going to drive you to be wired to succeed and have a fear of failure. And that will become automatic. And as you get older and become an adult, that will just keep driving this doing energy indefinitely until that is healed and resolved. Another way that could manifest is if you had neglectful parents and you found a way to get attention from them was to do really well at something, to overachieve. And so, of course, if you got some type of validation or love through overachieving, then that is part of your wiring, part of your conditioning to then keep seeking that, to keep getting that validation through life, which will lead to a life of overachieving through looking for success, having a fear of failure, because then you may feel unworthy or unlovable. And so this is often operating quite unconsciously until we bring awareness to it, which is really the point of this video, is to bring awareness to these parts of us that are driving that doing energy. And if we address the underlying issue, we go and we heal the underlying reason why that's there, then the doing energy will start to resolve on its own. And if we feel we need to be perfect, this can drive doing energy. And perfectionism comes from typically in childhood, a hypercritical parent, or it was dangerous to make a mistake because of punishment as a child. And so you had to be on guard and do a very good job and be perfect. So it comes as a coping strategy to keep safe. And so that gets carried through into adult life. And although it might make us be a high achiever, it can drive doing energy. And this is pretty easy to see because, of course, if we're constantly thinking about and worrying about projects that we've done, things that we've said to people, we are lost in the mind, we're overanalyzing. It can be a type of doing, at least it's taking us away from being present. Or if we're having to redo projects and because we don't think it was good enough, or having to clean the house again, we are going into those perfectionist tendencies as a way to soothe ourselves from childhood. But of course, that's driving an ongoing doing energy. So healing the underlying reason why the perfectionism started can help to resolve that constantly doing to do with perfectionism. The next one is fixing other people, sometimes called the codependent, savior, the rescuer, the advice giver in childhood. If we had to go into this role to help siblings, to help a parent that wasn't able to help themselves, then we carry that through into our adult life and into the jobs that we choose and into our relationships. And then this drives doing energy. We're doing for other people. We are worried about our children. We are trying to constantly help them. We're worried about our partner, and we're constantly giving advice. We're in a sort of always an outward energy of worrying about other people. And this is the doing energy playing out in this way. So we're constantly either thinking about helping other people or doing action steps to help other people or giving other people advice. And this is the type of doing energy here that will just keep that doer going until we heal the underlying reason, which is what happened in childhood and why you had to go into that role in the first place. Learning and trying to gain knowledge is the next one. So if we were wired from childhood to be rewarded for being intelligent, we were told we were very smart, or we found love in that way, or found a sense of worth through being intelligent, then it set us on a path of being perhaps highly educated or being very intelligent, reading a lot of books and really wanting to know a lot. And so this doer energy plays out in the way of learning and educating yourself and reading, and sort of an insatiable hunger for knowledge. So although it's not perhaps an outward energy like some of the other ones, like being success driven, which is going to be more action orientated in the world and driven to do things, this one is still a doing energy in a sense, but it's more internalized, so it can be a little bit harder to spot. It is a constant wanting to know more, to learn the next thing, a fixation on certain topics, or just being a specialist at something, trying to learn absolutely everything you can about something. So this is how the doer energy can play out in this way, if you're wired in this way. And so with awakening, again, it's asking you, if you are going through an awakening and you're wanting to put down this doing energy, you can see that this is not helpful for you, then look at the underlying reasons from childhood of how that all began, heal that, and then it will start to just be put down naturally. Now, a dysregulated nervous system is a big one. If we are stuck in overdrive for whatever reason, so if we really cannot rest and get in the parasympathetic nervous system, it's like being in a car with the gas pedal stuck down and it's just go, 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 go. The nervous system actually drives the doing energy. Now, this can be for a number of reasons. It could be from early childhood trauma that's unresolved in the system. It could be from a disorder like ADHD. So addressing the underlying reason of why you cannot rest very deeply into the parasympathetic nervous system, dealing with whatever the underlying issues are, will really help you to take the foot off the gas pedal and to put the car in neutral. And that's going to really help with awakening and really help with the doer energy, which can be a surprising way, but often common way, that we are really being forced by the nervous system. We can feel like if we stop, we can have panic. It's quite a physical thing, a physiological thing that is happening, where we're being driven from task to task or thinking thought to thought. What can I do next? It's driven often by the nervous system. So that can be a really key element to look at. To heal that, it can be quite a journey. Have a look at Irene Lyon's work on YouTube. I'll link to her in the description. Getting help with modalities like craniosacral and network chiropractic can be wonderful. Healing underlying trauma through modalities like somatic experiencing can be extremely helpful as well, to help you bring you out of that overdrive mode. And anxiety can be a big one that drives doing energy. Anyone with anxiety knows that it creates an energy inside you that makes you fidget and makes you want to move. And you feel better if you're moving and taking action. So that's kind of obvious how that can drive doing energy. So, of course, healing the underlying reason of why the anxiety is there. It could be anything: early childhood trauma, a condition to work on, that nervous system issue that I talked about, that can cause anxiety. So healing the nervous system. It could be things like genetics, that it came through the genetic line that your mother was anxious when you were in utero. So there's all kinds of reasons, but healing the underlying reason of the anxiety is really going to help you to sort of just be able to rest. So anxiety is a big driver for people as to why they keep wanting to do and to move. And so sometimes it's just on the level of the mind, and that's still going to be unhelpful. And in a sense, it's putting you in a doer energy, even though it's internalized. If you are planning because of the anxiety, over planning, over analyzing, why did I say that thing, that going into those mind loops, but it could also play out as survival. I need to get everything secure. I need to, because I'm worrying about my safety, I need to plan for everything. I need to plan for the future. So anxiety drives and manifests in a lot of ways, but it can create doing in all of these number of different ways, but really coming back to the heart of it, healing the underlying reasons for it, will resolve all the different ways that the doing is happening internally, externally, and all the movement that is happening. But yes, anxiety can be a big driver of doing energy. So even if we're just thinking about what it is we want to do, we're sort of in that energy as well. We don't necessarily have to be taking action steps outwardly. It's doing energy is not like a set thing. It's just a label that we're putting on a certain part of the strategies of the how the separate self operates to help to point to something, to help you to resolve that. It can be just anything where we're stuck in the mind thinking about what we want to do. So planning, what's my next project going to be, and what app am I going to develop, what creative project, what's my next piece of music that I'm going to create going to be. So it can be in the mind. I still sort of count that in this same category, or when you're actually taking action steps to do it. All of that, if we just put that together, that's the type of strategies that we're trying to put down. If we're going through an awakening, we're trying to deplete that part of the egoic operating system. And so we can do it from a top-down approach of just putting those things down, just starting to put down and stop thinking about those things, stop planning for the next thing, stop taking on the next project. That can certainly help. But what works even better is addressing these underlying issues that I've been talking about in this video. And yes, it's harder and it could require therapy or years of work, or who knows, it depends what you have. And you might have all of these strategies. It can be complex, but these, because they're the core things that happen from childhood, that happen from genetic lines, that happen from karmic patterns, that are just driving the doing energy, driving really the separate self, the illusion of a separate self happening over and over again all day. We heal those, then it just all collapses and the doing energy just stops on its own in a very pleasant way that's enjoyable and very nourishing for the body and the nervous system. And so the last one I just wanted to add is creative expression. This is a little bit of a complicated one. So creative expression, if it's done in a way where you're trying to achieve something and perhaps coming from a wounded place. So again, in childhood, if the way that we got our attention, validation, our love was through being original, being creative, even being a performer, being the entertainer, however it was that we got that, then of course that's what we're going to carry on in life and keep doing that automatically without even realizing it. And so if it is some type of creative thing, whether you're a musician or an artist, or you're in the movies, or whatever it is that you produce, if it's coming from that wounded place, then it's likely to be this doer energy. If you're doing it as a job, it's likely to be this doer energy. And so just to be on alert for that, as to heal the underlying reason as to why you needed to feel like you were original or creative, or heal that from childhood. The same reason, same thing with performing. If you felt like you got attention from performing, whether it was being funny or dancing or whatever it is, you carry that through into adult life, and then that forms your way that you do in the world. You are the entertainer of your friends. Perhaps you become a comedian, right? Perhaps you become a dancer. Perhaps you become an actor. So it's the same kind of pattern with all of this. It's always the underlying thing that happened in childhood. We healed that because that's what's driving the doing energy just automatically. It's like an operating system in the body and the nervous system. And so we heal that, then of course the doing energy is going to resolve itself naturally. Now, there is absolutely nothing wrong with really any of the things I've talked about today, whether you're working, whether you're doing something creative, and whether you dance or play the piano or whatever you do. We're just talking about the driving force of the doing energy. It's not so much about what you do. You can do things from a non-doing place, which sounds a bit weird, but from a place of just flow and enjoyment and for no purpose would be from a non-doing place. So you can create music from there, you can create art from there, you can dance and play the piano from there, and that's all totally fine and not what this is about. This is about that drive within us, that motivation within us, that part that just has to achieve and succeed, and however that's played out for you in overachieving, in creating whatever it is that you create in the world, to get those needs met from childhood. That's what's being asked of you, awakening to start to put down that element to this.